This is class number 34, and we start with Sefer Shmiras Lashon on page 113. Today's topic: peace is precious. Okay, go ahead, please.
Sefer Ma'alas Hamidas states, "Know, my son, that peace is an exalted quality, for it is one of the names of HaShem. Wherever peace is found, fear of HaShem is found. Wherever peace is lacking, fear of HaShem is lacking." Our sages state, "Peace is precious, for HaShem has altered the truth for the sake of peace between Abraham and Sarah." Sarah, in expressing this belief that she would yet bear a child, said, "And my master Abraham is old." But HaShem, in relating her statement to Abraham, said, "And I, Sarah, am old." After Yaakov died, the brother sent Yosef a message. Their father gave orders before his death, saying, "Thus shall you say to Yosef, oh, please kindly forgive the spiteful deed of your brothers." We do not find any indication in the Torah that Yaakov did in fact give such instructions, for he did not suspect Yosef of bearing any ill toward his brothers. The brothers, out of fear that Yosef had not forgiven them, altered the truth for the sake of peace. Peace is precious, for in times of war we must first seek peace, as is written. When you draw near to a city to wage war against it, you shall call out to it for peace. Peace is precious, for it is with the blessing of peace that we conclude Berkat Hamazon. As it is written, and may HaShem establish peace.
No?
Berkas Kahanan, correct. Peace is precious, for it is with the request for peace that we conclude our daily prayer in the Shemona Ezra. As is derived from the verse, HaShem will give might to his people, HaShem will bless his people with peace. Moreover, on the great day of consolation, at the end of days, the first good tidings will be of peace. As it is written, how beautiful ascending the mountains are the footsteps of the herald, making heard peace.
Okay. Comments? You want to add something?
No, if Hashem is doing, if Hashem is not, I wouldn't say lying, but if he's willing to change the truth for the sake of peace, then surely we have to do everything that we need for peace.
For us, it's a must. If it's really for the sake of truth, not us trying to manipulate the situation. Okay. So we continue with laws of Shabbos, and we continue with chapter number 9, and the subject was wearing non-clothing articles. Okay, so we go into like practical application. So now we're starting with from F, page 147, wheelchair. There is a dispute among the poskim whether a person who cannot walk is permitted to go outdoors with a wheelchair, which he himself pushes by turning the wheels. Very interesting, right? Some poskim rule that wheelchair is similar to cane and can be considered a substitute limb for a person. Exactly the same rationale, basically. Others, however, maintain that a wheelchair differs from the cane in this regard, because whereas the person actually walks with a cane and uses it in a fashion of the limb, he merely sits in a wheelchair and it is transported along with it. So they say it's not exactly the same. When you walk with a cane, so you really walk, and you can call it a limb. You use it for support, but the wheelchair you just sit there. So you cannot say that you walk in a wheelchair, right? You push yourself. The person pushes a wheelchair, and he and himself. Okay. Okay. By wheeling the chair, he transported 4 cubits in a public domain. One should consult halakhic authority concerning this matter, and also concerning the matter of whether he can have a Gentile push the wheelchair. So as we see, it's not that simple. If there is an Arab, there is a different story, but otherwise it's not so simple. Okay. So next one, G, reflectors. Numerous poskim permit wearing reflectors outdoors at night to ensure that one is seen by the passing cars. That's, here is not so common, but in like upstate, when in Muncie, like all of this in remote like communities in in Jersey, that's what they do. So because they have to go along the highway or even along the road. So here we have in the city we have a lot of street lights, but they don't have street lights. The people can easily get hit by the cars because they walk on the road. Okay, that's so these reflectors, no problem. Okay, continue. Carrying medication. I think you asked me this question some time ago. Carrying medication. Uh, a, um, a pertinent question concerning carrying on Shabbos is whether a person suffering from a sickness such as angina or asthma is permitted to carry the medication through the public domain on Shabbos. Certainly, if such a person was outdoors without medication and suffered a life-threatening attack, it would be permissible and obligatory to procure the necessary medication through any means. Okay, so two separate things. So if somebody does not feel well, he's outdoors, of course, we can bring the medication or even from somebody else's house. That's not what we're talking about, right? However, the question is whether he can carry his medication outdoors when he leaves his home. To have a supply at hand in the case of an attack. Or like attack meaning like all of the seizures and stuff like that. Many like diabetic attack, all of this like heartache, many conditions. Since there is no medical reason, which compels the patient to leave his home where the medicine is kept, it is questionable whether this can be considered a medical emergency. Samples can permit a person to carry the pill if he does so in unusual manner, such as storing the pill in his head. So it's like it's not normal way of carrying, right? However, since there are many details to this halacha, one should consult halachic authority. So it's not so simple. I mean, if nobody told him to go to shul on Shabbos, he can stay home, basically, right? And there is no problem. Or I would say, if maybe it's a short walk, so have some medication in the shul, like bring before Shabbos and keep it there, just in case. Okay. Next one, beeper and walkie-talkie. Concerning whether doctors or other emergency medical personnel, for example, wear beepers, like our cell phone today, right? Or walkie-talkie on Shabbos, halakhic authority should be consulted. I mean, that's what they do. They walk, and these Hatzolah people, and sometimes very annoying, and sometimes they have to make very loud. So the whole shul and even outside can hear that he's actually on a call today. Sometimes. Okay, so that's very annoying. So it's not so simple. They can do this walkie-talkie thing. Okay, so part number 3. So doctors, Davin and this is doctor, and somehow the volume for each, I don't know, maybe text messages or emails was very loud. Like your shul and Shabbos, it's very loud. I don't know. Just keep checking every. I guess if you get an emails every 3 minutes you get an email. So every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, check your email. That's it. For sure you're going to get. You don't have to turn on the volume.
Wait, question.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? So let's say a rabbi does allow the wheelchair. Okay. Now, on the wheelchair, let's say I don't know. It's possible for someone to put something. Let's say someone can tape. I don't know. A pencil under it. Let's say. Does it count as carrying? Does the pencil count as carrying or no?
If they tape it before Shabbos, no, it's not carrying.
Got it. Understood.
Interesting question. Okay, so now part number 3. Articles that are worn permanently. Any item that is always worn on the body is considered a body accessory and may be worn outdoors on Shabbos. The poskim cite the following example. And in olden time, girls, before we go, so all of these things, this pacemaker and all of these things, like people wear all day long, so there is no problem. Even the electronics, there is no problem. They can wear on Shabbos. The poskim cite the following example. In olden days, girls' ears would be pierced at a young age, but they would not be given earrings until they got older. I'm not sure why they would pierce it in a younger age. Maybe it's easy. I'm not sure. Got older. Instead, slivers of wood were inserted into ears to prevent the holes from closing up. So pieces of the wood, basically. Right? The slivers were not ornamental, nor were they medical necessities. Nevertheless, since the girls never removed the slivers, and the slivers were useful to the body, it was permitted for the girls to go outdoors with the slivers inserted. Not sure how they useful for the body. I'm not sure. Okay, so they didn't have enough money. So today they buy, I don't know, even cheaper one, even silver one. I mean, I don't think they cost much, or even gold one. They also, I don't. $20. I just guess like tiny ones, little girl. $40. Okay. So continue. So we start in chapter number 10. So you also asked these questions before. Carrying inadvertently in the public domain. So basically, he went out and realized, whoa, I have I don't know whatever I have in my pocket. So, but solution is, you see, the simplest solution. It's all of the things usually happen to clumsy people. And people who do not respect Shabbat properly. If you have Shabbos suit, for example, in my Shabbos suit, the pockets are sewn. I never undid it, so I cannot put anything in the pocket. And I have a rule: never put in my pants, never anything, not even tissue. So if I need to use a tissue, I would hold it in my hands until I get to the garbage, and then throw it to the garbage. Oh yeah, I use it, go directly through the. I would never ever put it in my pocket. You understand? So with this rule, there is I don't know how. Even it happened to me that once I walked with the key, but it in many years it happened to me twice. Many years. So I don't know. Because it was too much in my house, on my mind and stuff like that. So I like mechanically I put the key into my pocket and start working. But otherwise, if you have all of this separate, you have separate jacket for Shabbos. I mean, that is impossible. Okay, so in this chapter we'll discuss the rules of carrying in a public domain. The safeguards enacted by the sages to ensure that one does not inadvertently carry something in a public domain, and a procedure to be followed by a person who discovers while in public domain that he is carrying something. Okay, so let's see. Part number 1. Description of the Melaka of transporting object to a different domain. Okay, so we actually discussed it a little, but let's see. Okay, so the Melaka transferring, there is a carrying something to a different domain. So there is one note. There is a private domain to the public domain, or vice versa, or from either domain to the carbonless, or vice versa. So carbonless, we say it's like intermediate, like most of the like our streets, I would say it's like carbonless. Okay, so one more time, the Melaka of transferring, there is carrying something from a different domain. For 4 amos. So 4 amos, we say it's like around 8 feet, 7.5, 8 feet. Within the public domain is accomplished through the act that consists 3 segments. So 3 parts in this act, 3 parts. These are A, taking an object from original place, a Kiruv. So meaning it was the object was resting in one place and I picked it up. Okay. B, conveying it out of the domain or 4 amos within the public domain. So this B is, I took it like, let's say from outdoors, and I went to this mask down the stairs of the shoe. So I'm outside. So that's already, I'm in different domain, right? Or you find something on a street and you pick it up and you carry in a public domain for 4 hours. Even though we said it's not public domain, but we treat it as a public domain. Okay. 4 hours. Okay. C. Bring it to the rest in a new place. Hanacha. So here we looking at, so he picked it up. He transferred from one domain to another, or 4 amos in a private in a public domain, right? And he put it down. Under the biblical law, the Melaka consists of doing all 3 segments, or otherwise the act is considered incomplete. Okay. Now, this does not mean that that to transgress the biblical prohibition, one must leave the object in its original place on the ground and set it down on the ground in its new place. Okay? That's not what we're saying. If a stationary person was holding an object and he began to walk with it, well, let's say Shabbat starts and he starts walking, right? He is deemed to have taken it from its place. And if he later stopped walking, he deemed to have brought it to the rest in new place. So put it rest does not mean that he put it down. So he stopped together with this thing, and then they standing together. You understand? So that's the like that's already considered transported according to the biblical. Okay. However, if he neither stopped walking nor set the object down, he has not completed the melacha. So that's a biblical, of course. So basically, if he's continue running, whatever, he does not stop. So it's not considered like he transferred. I mean, on a biblical level, but on a rabbinical level, of course. The sages forbid doing even part of this melacha, as we could have guessed, right? Thus, it is forbidden for a person to take something from a private domain to Carmelis, or public domain, Carmelis, or the public domain, even if he will not put it down there, but will continue walking until somebody else take the object from him and puts it down. It's very interesting. So let's read it one more time and we explain. The sages forbade doing even the part of the melacha. So even part, meaning the pick up with intention to go somewhere. Thus, it is forbidden for a person to take something from a private domain to Carmelis, or to public domain. I mean, from private or from Carmelis to public domain, even if he will not put it down there. So he's not planning to put it down. He's going to continue walking until he meets somebody and give this thing to another person, and he's going to set it down, put it down, or continue walking. In fact, due to the sage's decree, just as it is forbidden for the first person to begin the melacha, so it is forbidden to the second person to take the objects from the first one and complete the melacha. In addition, so I think in the Talmud that the example that they give is there is a what is it, the poor person knocks at the door Friday night, right? The guy opens the door and says, "I'm hungry. I'm going to give you bread. Just stay there." So he's behind the door. So the host goes back, take piece of bread, and he comes to the door. So and the poor person sticks his hand right? So his hand is actually like beyond the door. So his hand is in the house. So the question is, if this guy, the host, is allowed to give this poor man piece of bread, because he's going to bring the hand back, of course, right? That's inevitably, and he's going to move from one domain to another. That's I think the one of the examples there. Okay. So it says it does not matter. You started Melaka or you concluded Melaka, does not matter. In addition to this decree, the sages instituted several safeguards to ensure that the people would not inadvertently carry anything outside on Shabbos. As one safeguard, they decree that every person must check his pockets before Shabbos. But as we said, if you have a separate suit for Shabbos, there is no problem. Right? Charges for Shabbos to determine whether they contain anything. Furthermore, if one sometimes puts things in his pockets on Shabbos, he must check the pockets each time he prepares to leave the house. So, but if you never leave, never put anything on in your pockets on Shabbos, in your Shabbos suit, there is no problem whatsoever. It is noteworthy that the sages suspended the biblical commandment to blow shofar when Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbos, and commanded to take lulav, a commandment to take lulav when Sukkot falls on Shabbos, out of the concern that the person might inadvertently carry shofar or lulav on public domain. So and this statement is a big like bomb, right? So it says, so our study said maybe one person in all of the future generation, one person is going to carry this lulav on Shabbos, or he is going to carry this shofar on Shabbos to go to his teacher to show me how to blow, stuff like that. So he said it's better for us to cancel on Rosh Hashanah to blow the shofar than to allow for one person maybe in all of the future generation. You understand that him to transgress. That's how important. Like you asked me many times about caring. So and the reason you asking the way I understand, because people are laxing in it, right? That they're not taking it seriously. So maybe it's our sages were very serious, very serious about it, and for all the generation not to transgress. You understand? It's a very serious thing. Okay, so continue. Part number 2. Getting outdoors inadvertent. So now, okay, it's after the fact. So I'm with my key. So what should I do? If one was walking in a public domain on Shabbos and discovered that he was carrying something in his hand or in his pocket, right, or pocket, he should do as follows. If he discovers the item while actually walking, that is while in a motion, he should not stop walking. So that's rule number 1, not stop walking. But he must avoid completing the Melaka in a usual fashion. Rather, he should, number 1, continue walking. So even let's say you have to cross the road, right? And there is a red light. So you do like all of these people do, the joggers. So you just walk in the same place, right? Pretend that you walk back and forth until the light change. Okay, and number 2, set the item down in unusual manner. Okay, so 1, continue walking and then set out in unusual manner. To illustrate, if the item is in one's hand, he should not place it down gently, but should rather drop it while walking. If it is in his pocket, he should turn the pocket inside out, so like from inside, while walking, and cause the item to fall out. If the item, go ahead.
Yeah, so the question goes like this. Let's say in the middle of walking, you remember, and let's say you intentionally stop walking. Let's say you intentionally stop walking, okay? Even though you know the halacha is you have to continue walking. Does one go against only the rabbinical prohibition?
No. It's a biblical, because he stopped.
But everything else he did unintentionally. This he did intentionally.
No. What's that? I think the way I see it, right? So he did complete Melaka. So maybe you're right. He started unintentionally, but completed intentionally. He
Understand.
knew that there were three steps, right? And he took the step number 3. That's it. So now he's responsible for the whole thing. Like
Okay.
there's a rule in the mission of I think it's Baba Kama. So it says if you dig a pit 9 tefachim, tefach is like a feast, like 3 inches, 3.5 inches deep, and another guy came and like digged one more tefach. So if animal falls into this pit and dies or break his legs, whatever. So that guy, the second guy, is responsible because he completed the action.
But then I have this question. Someone keeps walking. Now he already if he keeps walking, right? Then he also completes the malacha.
No, not
If someone stops, he
no,
completes.
you're right. No. Just this part, the way I understand this part is rabbinical. That the form I understand exactly what you're asking.
Well, this is biblical, I think. No.
No. I'm sorry. So biblical, it's 3 parts. You pick up in one place, you transport, and then you put it down.
Mm-hmm. And also, but the other biblical thing is that it doesn't matter private, not private. If you walk for Amos in public, it's biblical. That's right.
One more time. What is it? If you
Someone walks for Amos in public, right, with
yeah.
something, doesn't matter public domain, private domain. Doesn't matter if he transfers. It's biblical. Biblically, he counts as carrying. If it's outdoors,
Yes. So you transfer from one domain to another, or you carry for Amos in public domain.
Correct.
Okay, continue.
Yes.
So basically they say do everything with a shino. Shino is not a regular way of doing things, right? So first of all, they say do not stop. When you found the place where you want to like hide this thing, so you oh 1 second, sorry. All right, so good. So and when you want to hide, you came to the place where you want to hide this thing. So you basically just like drop it in unusual fashion. I'm not sure. Are we still recording? Yeah, we're still recording. Okay, so he just drops it in unusual fashion. Okay, so good. All right, so continue. If item is a valuable one that may break if it is dropped, one should hold it on the back of his hand, and while walking, lean over and set it down gently. So if he has his cell phone, let's see. If one discovers the item while standing still, or he's inadvertently stopped walking after discovering it, he should not begin walking again, but should drop the item in an unusual manner as described above. So let's read the sentence again and explain. If one discovers an item while standing still, so now he's standing right in place, or he inadvertently stopped walking after discovering it, so he is again inadvertently, he should not begin walking again. So meaning up to now it was is inadvertent, and you have to drop it. Right, so if you continue walking, so now it's that's what you want to do. That's wrong. I begin walking again, but should drop the item in unusual manner as described above. Okay. After dropping or placing an item on the ground, one may not pick it up again and bring it home, but he must leave it there. If it is a valuable item that may be lost or stolen, one may remain there to guard it or appoint someone else to guard it until Shabbos is over. When this is impossible, one may ask Gentile to carry the valuable item home for him. There are several other halachas pertaining to the instance where when no Gentile is available. However, due to the complexity of the discussion of them, is beyond the scope of this book. Okay, so let's see. Let's try to understand what we just said. So we said the following. So once he dropped or put it down, he cannot take it back. And let's say, right? So he goes to shul. So he hid it somewhere in the bushes, not to get it to it. And not now, on the way back, he wants to carry it home. So he, like in his mind, he wants to minimize the avera. So it's absolutely forbidden. So he cannot bring it home. He can stand next to the thing. I'm not sure, like if he goes to shul in the morning, so he's not going to stay there 8 hours, I guess. I hope. Yeah, go ahead.
But he can bring it home after Shabbos or no?
Yeah. After Shabbat, there is no problem.
Okay, that's understood.
Yeah, so I mean, the way I see it, like maybe he was going to Mincha, right? And he just figured that he had this, I don't know, this car keys in his pocket.
But wait, let's say this way. Let's say, I don't know, let's say he was carrying keys in his pocket, okay? But let's say he drops them on, let's say, halfway to his house, okay? Because he remembers he was carrying and dropped them halfway to his house. Then he goes to, what's it called? He sleeps over at someone else's house for Shabbos because he was going to do that in the first place, okay?
Okay.
Now, so question goes like this. Doesn't he have to, after Shabbos, doesn't he have to bring the key back to the shul since he's benefiting from the key being halfway to his house? He's benefiting.
No. Yeah, I see what it. No. Because it was not intentional. You're right. It was not. If it would be intentional, then yes, maybe, or at least not to use the keys. Maybe then not to bring to shul. That's a little too much to ask. But at least not to use the key for as long as it would take him now to go home and get the key and stuff like that. So maybe for another 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever time we take. So, but we do not like punish so much that we like force him to go back, and that's it. Okay. So we all we care about time. So basically, he sees he's not gaining anything. But in this case, as you said, it was he started in a drug. It was not his intention. Okay, but we said in this case, if nothing is possible, I mean, if it's Shabbos morning, so he can ask a non-Jew to carry it for him to house, to the shul. Let's say in a shul, let's say if it's not muktzah, so he can like house key, he can hide it somewhere. There's no problem.
Wait, question. Let's say there's a fence, right? Then with the fence starts, let's say, you know how, let's say, it's vertical, but then horizontally it starts a little bit above the ground, okay? Let's say. Now, let's say someone was carrying a napkin and it fell in the middle in the middle of the fence, let's say, between the public domain and the private domain. What does it count as?
So he wants to get this napkin. So it's under the fence.
Yeah, I'm saying, let's say it's under the fence, right?
So fence is still your territory. It's still private. Only beyond the fence. So when you have to stick your hand out, it's going to be private. Public.
Understood.
So even if part of it on your domain, so you can bring to your domain. I guess maybe majority on your domain. On your territory. Okay, so yeah, we're going to finish. Continue. Articles of clothing. If one discovers that he's carrying an item that can be worn, for example, yarmulke or handkerchief, one should not don it while walking. So maybe he has an extra kippah in his pocket, right? Donning the article would constitute completion of the Melaka. Very interesting, right? Even so, I mean, this kippah would find its rest, right? Melaka, even if the person was still walking, since the article will thereby come to rest in its proper position on his body. That's what rest means, right? So he puts on his head, that's proper place. Okay. Another person should continue walking and drop the article in unusual manner. So this keep or other things, it's like any other things that are not allowed to carry. As described above. Okay, or I mean, so you're allowed to go out with the 7 kippahs. There is no problem. But here it was in his pocket. That's the issue. He may subsequently pick it up while standing and still don it. He may subsequently pick it up while standing still and don it. With respect to the permissible methods of wearing the handkerchief outdoors, see other pages.
Wait, question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Over here it says the person should continue walking and drop let's say the yarmulke. But for the others it said someone so okay, understood. Never mind. I thought that usually you're supposed to stop walking, and over here it was continue. My bad. Understood.
Yeah. I mean, so they count it as a regular thing. I mean, nobody is walking around with a short in his pocket, right? So it's too big. But yarmulke is like you may miss it, right? It does not take too much space. Okay, continue. Last piece, carrying people. It is forbidden to carry a person, whether he can walk by himself or not. Very important thing. Okay, so a child who refuses to walk. A child who stops walking, so he's very he's very strict. Baruch Hashem.
Wait, what? Let's say you know how there are those things where I don't know, you can put there's like a vest and you can put the child in the vest, right? So doesn't the child in the vest count as subordinate to the garment or no?
No. It's carrying 100%.
Understood. Okay.
A child who refuses to walk. If child stops walking in a street in an area that is not closed by Eruv and refuses to continue walking, one of the following procedures should be employed. Number 1. Preferably non-Jew should be asked to carry the child to its destination. Right? That's okay. Number 2, if this is impossible, and there are several Jews in the area, each Jew should carry a child at a distance of less than 4 amos. There is a less than approximately 7 feet. Okay? Then stop walking and hand the child to the next person. They should proceed in this manner until reach the entrance of the area enclosed by Eruv, or in front of his or her home. So that's the thing. So basically, they never put to rest, so they never stop. So they continue walking and giving this child to one another while walking. Prior to entering the enclosed area, one should try to pursue the child to enter on his own. So now, okay, maybe if he was not put to rest, this child in this public domain, it's one thing. But now, for sure, as you said before, when you transfer from one domain to the, it does not matter. Doesn't matter, right? So basically, the best way they say, one should try to pursue the child to enter on his own. If he refuses, a person standing inside of the house should reach outside. An adult on the outside should place the child into the outstretched arm or a person inside. So basically, that person who is outside, he's not completing Melaka. But person who is inside, he completes Melaka. Maybe because he's not there, but only his hands there. I'm not sure. That person maybe then bring his arm with the child. I mean, we understand it's rabbinical, but in this case there is like no other choice. This act would be normally prohibited rabbinically, exactly. It is permitted here due to the special necessities involved. So, under normal circumstances, it is forbidden. Okay, number 3. If there are only 2 Jewish people available, they should alternate carrying the child. Carrying the child the distance of less than 4 hours until the air of enclosed area or a front door. At the point of the previously the previously described procedure should be followed. Okay, so I apologize. Let me read one more time and explain. If there are only 2 Jewish people available, they should alternate carrying the child distance less than 4 hours. So I mean, only 2 people until the air of enclosed area of the front door. At that point, the previously described procedure should be followed, meaning that one goes inside and sticking his arms outside, and the second guy puts the baby in the first guy's hands. Number 4, if there is only one person with a child, that person may carry child home in a small intervals, never walking a full 4 hours in one sprint. So that's another thing. You walk less than 4 hours, you stop. Less than 4 hours, you stop. He is not required to put the child down in each stop. It is sufficient to merely stop for a rest for a moment at each time. So that's the most practical thing that we usually do. When arriving at the entrance of the house or the enclosed area, he should follow the procedure described above, meaning that like ask somebody to go inside or ask the child to walk. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
For the third one, why can't they just, let's say, walk the child together, since they're both doing a malacha that they can both do by themselves? The Rambam says that you're allowed to do a malacha.
Yeah. Okay. So your question is, since one may carry the child, there is no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't 2 people carry the?
Exactly.
So why the author did not include this scenario?
Mm-hmm.
Good question. I don't know. I mean, logically it makes sense. So I don't know.
Understood.
All right.
Another question about the Rambam. So he says in Hilchos Deos not to eat 2 hours before you go to sleep, correct?
Yes.
So what does he say about Shabbat, where people usually eat later than they go right to sleep?
No, but you usually sit around the table. So your main meal is usually like 2 hours like before you go to sleep, right? You stick around for 2 hours. So with me, yes, I usually end my Friday night meal very early.
Mm-hmm.
So tired but that's the only exception. So all days of the week. So the Shabbos, we rely on special protection of holiness of Shabbos. You do it for a mitzvah. But all other 6 days a week, there is no
Understood.
No excuse.
Understood.
Another issue is Melaka. Especially in the summer when you start, like by the time you finish, it's 11, so it's time to bed. Okay, so you try to be you do your best, at least in a seasonal. During the winter, there's no excuse, for example.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the Shabbos, all the best until then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
אני מברך את הרבנים, רגע. אני מברך את הרבנים, הרב ירון ראובן, הרב אפרים כחלון, ראשי ארגון בעזרת השם, שהלכו בפי עליון, שעלו מעלה, יהיה להם ברכה והצלחה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא בישועות ליבם לטובה ולברכה, שבכל אשר יפנו ישכילו ויצליחו, יזכו עוד לעשות כאלה וכאלה, הודיעו תורה לאדירה, אמן ואמן.
בעזרת השם רשת בכל הארץ. הוא היהודי הזה, הוא היה מיליונר, סגר את כל הביזנס, אמר אני משקיע פה בעולמה של תורה.
איפה הוא גר?
בפלורידה.
פלורידה, איפה זה פלורידה? באמריקה.
במיימי. כן, ליד. אנחנו שם עכשיו הולכים להקים קהילה ספרדית גדולה.
תעבירו מה שבירכתי אותו.
כן, קהילה ספרדית גדולה.